put the two pieces separately, so hopefully you won't see too much of the camera there. So today it's a scene that I've taken on my coloring pages that I've put on from Ajijic, and I'm just going to go through and start painting and telling you a little bit about the different aspects that I'm going to be doing. I'm also going to try and find, I mentioned yesterday that I was going to try and find the ruling pen that I had that I wanted to test out with some of the Peebo. There they are. So these are ruling pens that allow you to use nice lines with masking fluid. I don't necessarily use them, but I thought I would show you because I just recently purchased a set for myself so that I could show my students. Now you're supposed to be able to dip it in there and then just very carefully take it and run the fluid. This is quite thick, so let's see how it works. And the reason this is suggested is because this way, I think this is quite thick, you don't have to wreck your brush when you're doing this. You can't see it down here. Let's try again this way. So you use masking fluid when you want to obscure, whether it's a second coat, you want to have some particular color left back in the painting, or if you want to get some really nice fine lines that you want to have. And I guess in this particular one that I've got here, it's not tight enough or not loose enough to get some of the... I have different sizes, it appears here, with the points. This seems to be a little thicker. Let's try this one. And so with masking fluid, if you use your brush, you need to do a few different things with it. You need to make sure that you don't use a very good brush, because the glue from the masking fluid, or just the stickiness of it, will tend to stay inside your good brush filaments. And then if you can deal with a brush if you dip it into some dishwashing soap ahead of time when you're washing dishes. That seems to allow you to keep it less likely to have a problem. Now the other thing you can do is you can use a kind of a sketching tool that has a little rubber nib that would allow you to do the lines, or you can get, and I think I showed it to you yesterday, an item like this which has a very fine tip on it. So this is a good opportunity to just try these ruling lines to see how they work, because sometimes you need to just put the item a certain way in order for it to actually function better for you. I'm also finding this Peebo is very, very thick, so maybe I need to water it down just a little bit. Let's try that. Let's find another little dish that I can use. That'll work. It's not too contaminated with other things. Okay, so I'm going to add some water to my masking fluid here just to see if that's the problem. It could be that I've left my masking fluid, it's a brand new masking fluid, but it may be just a bit not sealed up enough. I'm seeing some gum at the top of the lid here. That may be a problem. So I'm just going to pull that out and see if that makes any difference. Okay, I've closed that off. I've added the water in here, and let's see if I can get this working a little bit better with my pen. No, that just seems to have kind of, well, let's see. The idea is you're supposed to be able to get a very fine line on there, and that seems to be working now. So I think what was happening was it was the Peebo was just a little too thick. And this way you get a very smooth line as long as you don't press too hard. So I like that. Let's add a little bit in here. Except now I've just noticed something else. These little wheels at the end are not that big. Interesting. I just lost a little pin in between there for some reason. Oh, I just heard it. So it went down onto my floor here. And I'll have to look for it later. It's not too far away, so I will be able to find it. So I'll have to bear that in mind too with these little things, that the pin aspect is not, that wheel is not, it's not that large, so you've got to make sure that you don't open it up too wide. All these things to learn, because that's the little wheel there, and that's where the pin should be. Okay, well, having done that short little test, we're now going to try and paint this a little bit. Today I'm going to use a smaller brush once I have actually painted some of the background here. So we're going to do a nice blue sky, and I'm going to use, I think, Cerulean for my sky, so I'm just going to pull that out. Oh, already stopped. Hi everyone, I'm just adding in a little bit of my sky into my Mexican town scene. In my previous video I was just showing you how to use a little bit of masking fluid, and so I hope that helped you a little bit. I did find my piece that I had lost, so I'm happy about that. And I'm just using some cerulean blue on my sky right now I'm just trying to watch where I put those clouds here. And I'm going to add a little bit of a darker blue glaze up at the top here. So these are for my coloring pages that I have, which are individual sheets of 90-pound paper with pre-printed scenes that I've done in the past, and that you can use both watercolor, pencil crayon, watercolor crayon, watercolor pencils, and pastels on, because it's a strong enough paper that will absorb and allow you to paint or draw on. Even felts, you can use even felts. So let's add a little bit of some variation in color to the base of my clouds there. I just happen to have a little bit of gray here that I can just pop in. It's a little bit more like a green. There must be some yellow in there for it to change over. Okay, let's look for some purple here and see if I can adjust that a little bit. So just want a little bit of variation in the cloud. Not that we're having a stormy session, just a little bit of highlights. These lines are just the telephone lines that go across the area. And so let's see, I remember that some of these tarps were quite bright colors, so why don't we add a nice yellow at the top of that tarp. We'll use a Hansa Yellow Light, which is one of my favorite colors to use. It's a cooler yellow. There we go. Let's pop that color in there. And that will inevitably affect a little bit of the coloring underneath here, because you can always see a little bit of reflective color underneath. So let's just pop a little bit of the reflective color in there. And let me think about some of the colors we want to use on the other sides here. Now, the actual wall was more of a mustard, so like I would say, not a raw sienna, but a burnt sienna. Let's put a little bit of burnt sienna in here. And then these poles were kind of burnt orange. And the church itself was more on the gray side, so I will use A little bit of Payne's Gray, I think, in there will be faster than if I go to any other color. Of course, the stairs would be great too. Now the tower, I'm trying to remember what the tower was. It was actually a different color. Okay, it was more on the brighter side. Let's just add a little bit of the gray inside between some of these. This was part of the inside there of the, there's a kind of a open courtyard inside. And I guess we could use the gray just on the base of the ground here. Maybe even into the sidewalk area. Okay, so I don't see, there's a little bit of sidewalk still there. Not sure about there, I think that's still part of the market. The wall back here was also a kind of a burnt orange. Let's see if I can find a little bit of that color there. And I think I'll make the tower a little bit lighter than that, maybe a raw sienna. And I'll leave the clock white. Right, we've got a bit of a tree there, and there was another wall over here, it looks like. Let's use the same color for the wall here. All right, I mentioned a kind of a burnt orange. Let me just find that color. So I hope you've had a very good time perusing a lot of the artists as part of the Eastside Culture Crawl. I know it's been a really fun event for me, getting an opportunity to talk to you and do some demos online and to see the interaction of people who've come to my site, which is lovely. And I hope you've had a chance to do that with several of the artists. And it's just a great, great venue. Whether we could be actually really live or partially live or not just virtually live, you know. I've seen some of the pictures from the Instagram account, and it's just been amazing what people have been doing. So I hope you had the opportunity. There's other opportunities too. If you really like the artist's work and you want to get in to see them, don't be afraid to look at their contact information on the Culture Crawl and let them know. And I'm using too big a brush here because I'm getting in between the lines. So I need to get into a smaller brush here in a moment. Okay, let's go to my Winsor Newton 4 and let's see if that's going to be too big as well. I was using a escoda, and I believe that was a 12 round. Yeah. And this is an Winsor Newton 4 that I'm going to use now. And I'm just going to start adding some fun colors, like a little bit of green gold to the tree up here, and then adding a little bit of phthalo to darken up. And I think it comes down here a bit. And that's the wall, so we've done that already. And there's a bit of greenery inside here too. This was around Easter time that I took this picture and then painted it. A lot of fun. I think I'd like to see just a little bit more of an orangey tinge to this, so I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow over top. Now I notice, because it's so dark outside already, that the lighting is changing in my studio too here. So let's see. Now I think that was a green tarp, and I'm not, no, maybe red. It was red. I'm going to use a Scarlet Lake on there. Pop a little red into that tarp on that side. And where else can I put some nice red? I believe this umbrella was blue, but I'm going to put, there's an umbrella here, and then there's another umbrella behind it, in front of it, the tarp right here. Let's make that red too. And of course, some of the vegetables that are there, there was mangoes and watermelon and stuff, so let's put a little red in here. Some tomatoes. Maybe something over here, but I know that's a pineapple. These are onions, and they're purses and things like that, so let's make a red purse. And how about some red flowers down here? Oh yeah, she was looking at some greenery over here. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to remember if there was anything special. I'm just going to put a little bit of red in here. All right. Now this lady was wearing a kind of a pinkish dress. We can basically put any color we want on her. So I think I'll do a little bit of a lilac on there. A lighter purple, more maybe magenta. Let's see if there's my magenta. Oh, I think you've frozen again. Okay, I have some nice light purple here. I'm going to put on her dress. Let's do some kind of jeans. What kind of top can we use? Well, let's add that color in here somewhere. Trying to remember what was underneath. There was kind of like a dark box. I wonder if we could use that color in some of our vegetables here. Maybe like there were beets or something. I don't know. Then I should do here some of the brown for the base here. Some of them are crates actually, different color crates. So I'm going to start off with brown, and then I can add in a little bit of green in there. I think this is green. Yeah. Maybe over here too. We can do brown for his pants as well. Well, that's a little bit more khaki than I was expecting, but that's okay. Let's see if we just got, there we go. Looks like there's some shadow there, and I'll get that eventually. I'm just trying to think of what to do for his shirt. How about a blue shirt? And we'll use that same blue on the umbrella here. And then we have to think about the tarps that were behind it. We'll eventually put a little bit of shadow in there too underneath. Let's see. She needs some color as well. Now there's a lot of individuals up here at the top of the church as well. What can we do with that? What color should we use? Why don't we use a little bit of yellow in there? Just to brighten it up a bit. And we'll do a yellow here, and then eventually we'll put in some stripes of some color too. That's better. Okay. We can do a little bit of those turnips and stuff into yellow. Add some yellow back here, maybe a yellow purse area. How about some yellow for some of the cantaloupe or something that might have been here? Oh, there's some orange that we just mixed in. That's good. We'll need a little bit of green there too. Pop in some green, and the pineapple needs some yellow. Yellowy green. Perfect. Now, these guys need some color too. What are we going to use for them? Maybe that nice turquoise. Let's give them a turquoise shirt here. And who else can we use the turquoise? Well, let's use turquoise on her pants here, which almost looks like the color that I had over there. Okay, let's actually pop that behind there too, and I'll darken her pants in just a minute, because that kind of looks like a tarp color, so let's pop that in there. Let's darken her pants by giving an indigo. There we go. Okay, I haven't figured out what I'm going to... It should be a clay color there, but this one definitely was a dark. And we need some of those. Let's do a little bit of shadow underneath here. Okay, and we can actually use this for some nice dark hair color. A little bit of hair there and there. Where else? Those bags should be some kind of purple or red or yellow. Let's try a different magenta here. Let's give her some shadows in this. Forgot to do her purse as well. That tarp was green, if I'm not mistaken, kind of a dark green. Let's see here. Oh, and we need some green over here and a little bit of green up here too, because she's looking at some kind of fern up there. Darken this a bit. There's another tarp back there. I'm going to make it orange. I have some cadmium orange here that I can use. I'm going to darken that a bit too. Let's add some orange into here, maybe back here. And why don't we make this tarp orange as well? Good complement for the blues. Let's give her an orange top. And now we need to get some skin tone in here. And a good skin tone is just a little bit of permanent rose on a little bit of yellow, Hansa yellow. It will make a nice tone. So I just got to get some Hansa yellow in here and see where I've got just a bit orangey. That looks good. Maybe a bit orangey still. Okay, anybody else? There's a person way back here, a little person in there, person over here. Now, I'm going to go back with some burnt orange to get these pots set up, and we should put some green in there eventually too. Now, there would have been some kind of covering here, and I'm trying to think if it was white or not. This wall would be very similar raw sienna that I had. A little bit here, so we're just going to pop a little bit of that raw sienna back there. Just trying to think, this was some kind of scale or something here, so we can probably make that gray. Put some shadow on the sidewalk, between the sidewalk and the road here. Let's do that too. We'll just do a gray. Okay, I think we'll leave her pants white. But we got to get this guy some hair color. We need to get this lady some hair color. A little darker. Okay, now there's still two sets of bags. Oh, her purse. Her purse needs a little bit more color. And these bags aren't done yet. And that person needs some color. How about this person needs some color too? Oh, we missed out on his arms. And I almost went into my coffee. Okay. What color can we use? Maybe a yellow? Pop in some more yellow. Where's my yellow? Maybe some yellow there. And we don't have enough contrast here, so let's get some more yellow in the tarp to get some shadowing value in there. And let's get a little bit more of that red in there too. Underneath here. How about underneath there a little bit too? Okay, put a little red back here. A little red up there. Let's get this guy some stripes in his shirt. We need some blues or something in there. And that other bag. Let's give her a red bag too. Just putting some blue in here. Some shadows under there. We'll just add a little blue to get some shadows in there. Maybe a little under here just for a little added effect. Ah, there's a tree there. That's what it was, a tree trunk. Let's do that tree trunk up there. A little shadow here. What about a shadow on his pants? Okay, and what else do we need? Get her shirt just a wee bit more color into it. Good with that. A little shadow here on her pants. Oh, and the light. Let's add a little bit of color to the light here. And there's another lamp here. Let's just pop a little bit into there. These lines I'm just going to leave as they are. Put a little shadow green underneath there. Let's darken it just a bit. Okay, try and get some shadows in there. We all get some color. Okay. Pretty reasonably simple coloring page to go through and finish off with our village. So I hope you had fun doing that. Brightened up a little bit of another travel to Ajijic, and you got a chance to see a little bit of fun with my coloring page.